Guys, this is 2021. It's a brand new year, and things have really changed in SEO. I remember back in Custom Wave, we started back in 2003, and back then we were charging $600 for a basic template website. That was back when I had to convince people that, hey, you need a website, and I talked to a lot of people, and they'd say, no, I don't need a website. I've been doing business for 10 years, 30 years, whatever. I've never needed a website before. So back then I was trying to convince people like, hey, you need a website. Then fast forward maybe like 5, 7 years later, these search engines were coming out, and all of a sudden it was becoming a thing where you had all these websites and people were searching for things. So that was around the time back, I'd say in maybe 2008, 2010. I was having to convince people, hey, you need to get in the search engines. You need to, and people's response would be, well, people will just find me. It'll just happen. And so back then I was convincing people, hey, you need to get into the search engine optimization thing, this marketing thing. So people started doing that. And then fast forward maybe another 5 years after that, there was more competition for search engine optimization because everybody got the idea of like, hey, I got to do it. I got to rank for all these keywords. So this thing constantly changes. It's constantly evolving. So going into 2021, I'd say probably the biggest change in search engine optimization that we're looking at, because we all want to be ahead of the curve here, right? Like we don't want to. I mean, by definition, if you're doing what everybody else is doing, you're not going to have as much success, especially with how much competition is out there. I mean, if you're, let's say, in a pool of 100 businesses and you're doing what 90 of the other businesses are doing, you're doing the exact same thing. I mean, how much success are you actually going to have? It's not possible for you to have that much success if you're doing exactly what everybody else does. So being ahead of the curve is really key here. And I think probably the most important paradigm shift that I'm encouraging clients to really look at going into this year is to forget keywords, forget the term keyword. I mean, it was, keyword is kind of misleading anyway. People say keyword and they think like, oh, just a single word. This whole entire time, search engines have been looking at the term keyword and looking at it as a combination of words. Combination could be 2 words, could be 3 words. That would be a keyword, but a lot of people think that it's just one word by itself. Forget all that. Forget just keywords. Going into 2021, you want to target sentences. Sentences are the main way that you want to do search engine optimization. Number one, because 70% of all searches that are out there have 4 words or more. Why? It's because people are typing in sentences to be a lot more specific with what they're searching for. So you don't want to have a bunch of content. The way that most people do search engine optimization these days is they do it by content. That's the way to do it. The whole buying links thing doesn't really work. A lot of the black hat tricks don't work anymore. In our industry, you have black hat and white hat. I think it goes back to spy versus spy, I think. It was a little before my time, being 37 years old myself. But that's where the whole term, white hat versus black hat comes from. Like the white hat person was the good guy, the person wearing the black hat was the bad guy. So that's kind of the terminology in our SEO industry. But a lot of the black hat tactics don't work more as Google's gotten better in kind of thwarting them. A few of them work, but it's constantly a cat and mouse game over. You'll kind of cheat to get on the first page, and then Google will stop you, and then you got to kind of look for a new way. So if you want to do the white hat tactic and wear the white hat and kind of do it the way that you're supposed to, the way that most people do search engine optimization these days is to focus on content. So when you're doing content, when you're producing it, why focus on keywords when you can do a whole sentence? So just to give you an example, if we're targeting, like, let's say somebody looking for airport transportation, people are getting more specific. They might type in Cadillac Escalade from New York City, Times Square, to LaGuardia Airport. That's kind of an easy one. A lot of people go from the city to the airport. But to be more specific, let's say you have a tourist attraction, like you have a Disney World in Florida. You might want to target Chevy Suburban car service from Omni Hotel to Disney World Orlando FL. You target the whole sentence. The reason why you do it is why target just one word by itself when you can target the whole thing? If to recap, if you're doing Chevy Suburban car service from Omni Hotel to Disney World Orlando FL, you're getting all of those keywords all at the same time. You could rank for the whole thing. Not many people are going to type in that exact same whole sentence, but they might type in just suburban car service. They might type in car service from Omni Hotel. They might type in Chevy Suburban to Disney World. They might type in. They might even type in Chevy Suburban to Disney Orlando. You could basically, by targeting the whole sentence, you cover every angle. You cover all the different corners. If you have somebody that's going to Google, for instance, and they type, let's look at a couple other industries just to give you an example. Like you might have somebody typing in an auto repair industry. It's becoming increasingly popular. The people type in the type of car that they have. So they might type in Hyundai Sonata brake repair near Orange County. That's just to kind of give you an example. Or people might be more specific. There's a lot of people out there that know about cars. They don't know enough to fix them. They might know that they have a problem with their suspension. So you might have somebody that goes to Google and they might type in suspension repair for my Honda Civic in Pasadena, CA. They might type in that sentence. If you target by sentence, you get the whole thing. They might type in Honda repair in Pasadena. They might type in Civic suspension repair Pasadena, CA. But basically, by what I'm saying is that by targeting all of the by targeting by sentence, you kind of cover all of the different keywords. You kind of cover all of the all the ground. So you could do even by the construction industry. You can do it by material. You could do it by the type of customer. You could target it any different which way. You could target hardwood flooring for my office building. You could target it really specifically. Like if you're a lighting company, you could target LED parking lot lighting for my business's garage in Dallas, Texas. You want to target by sentence. You want to target it by all of the things. You want to include words like near, in, when people are looking for businesses within their location. This is the way to do search engine optimization. The main magic in what we do now, the main secret sauce that we really bring to the table is the keyword research and the ideas in terms of figuring out like what to target. So that's kind of what we're looking at in terms of what's the most successful thing to do in 2021.